All right. Okay, so reiterate, since we week 10 here was was emergency break, was given as an emergency break by UITM. So we are left with week 11 and continue with week 14, and most probably cuti ulang kaji ni will also be part of your lecture punya work lah. So that means there's no break lah after this until of course you finish up with your final exam. That said, I'll try my best to make sure that you guys finish your mini project by week 14 so that if there is last minute punya test ke apa ke, tak kacau lah hujung-hujung nak masuk final ni. Okay, so for this week, I'm going to brief to you your mini project so that you can discuss and brainstorm with your teammates on what idea, what kind of project you want to pursue. And then by week 12, I want to see you present or within your groups on which of the topics and what basically whether you have identified what's the input and output lah. And then week 13, of course, I'll be elaborating this much more later, but this is just briefly. So week 13, supposedly I want to see your progress, and week 14, so I want to see the final presentation for the final work. Hopefully by week 14 ni dah boleh present and submit your final report. Okay, so this is the time frame that we need to adhere to. So we are now in the 3rd January, betul? Okay, 3rd January. And itulah, okay, that's the timeline yang kita kena adhere to until before your final exam, so that I can give you mark. Because by week 14 is I'm supposed to give you marks from lab 1 up until mini project. So we have by hook by crook we need to finish everything by week 14 ni lah, sebab masuk je cuti ulang kaji ni most probably before final exam ni I need to, if let's say lah nak top up markah ke apa ke, kat sini dah saya akan take the time off nak top up markah awak ke, nak make sure awak pass ke, so kat sini lah yang saya nak kacau. This one saya kalau boleh nak allocate for final marking. Okay, so that's the timeline that I want you to be aware of. Okay, that's it. We'll look into the mini project, which first I guess we'll have a look at the rule first. So first off, I believe I've already informed you guys to form one group, 2 person for your each report punya apa nama? Each report punya submission, lab 1 sampai lab 7. But for mini project, instead of one group 2 person, I want you to form one group 4 person, because mini project ni will compile all the knowledge that you have gained from lab 1 to lab 7. So kalau 2 orang je takut tak terkata apa lab yang lain tu, sebab nanti saya elaborate later lah. But for the purpose of mini project, I want you to first choose your teammate between satu group maximum 4 orang. Kalau terlebih maybe ada satu group 3 orang lah, 3 atau 2 orang, depends lah nanti macam mana saya. Kalau kata 2 orang tu bagi saya terlalu sikit, nanti saya akan distribute lah. But for this week, try to form a group maximum 4 people, and I provide a link in Google Classroom for you to update your group members lah, group members name. Sebab 4 person will ensure smoother lah, sebab nanti kan nak buat circuit lagi, nak buat drawing apa lagi, nak buat apa-apa lagi, and then nak buat report lagi, so banyak kerja kalau buat 2 orang je. So I don't want to burden you that much lah. Okay, so title and pen. Okay, title ni nanti kita akan saya akan bagi sampel. But I truly leave it up to you what kind of problem that you want to solve. Okay, but before we go into that, let me open this. Where is it? I thought I've opened it. Okay, this one. Okay, so for Rubric mini project, okay, this one is 2021 punya batch, which is last year in Penang, so dia punya karimat ni tak betul. But for us, it's around 25 to 26% lah. So there's a laboratory practice which percentage dia agak tinggi, 20%, but this one is depending on progress presentation each week yang kita akan buat tu nanti. So this one I'll give you mark depending on your progress. So kalau nampak macam tak buat, baru nak time present tu baru nak buat slide pernah cincai-cincai je, nampak sangat buat kerja 10 minit, memang kurang lah, saya akan bagi 20% ni. So actually lab-lab yang korang buat ni within one whole day dah boleh siap kalau korang pandai distribute work. Most probably one whole day dah boleh siap the whole mini project ni. So there's no reason for you, bolehlah nak cakap test ke apa semua, tapi I myself, if I do this mini project on my own, I can complete this within one day. But yelah, I'll try to distribute it between each week so that nampak progress korang tu. And then the report itself is just 1.5%, presentation 2%. This one ada rubric dia nanti saya share. Sustainability, ni the one that's it's important. So your title, regardless of what do you want to do, has to have element of sustainability, which is being shown in either your report, your mini project, or your presentation. So what does it mean by sustainability? It doesn't mean korang kena pasang solar panel ke apa, tak semestinya, depend. But sustainability for me, again, markah it depends on me. So my definition of sustainability may be different between other groups. But for my definition of sustainability is that the circuit or the function of that circuit must be able to operate 5-10 years down the road. So that means if you're using battery size punya power up, leceh lah every single time nak kena pergi site tukar, bateri habis tukar. So you have to, ni example lah tak semestinya sebabkan bateri je, but is an example of sustainability, what it meant by sustainability in my own eyes when I want to assess your report and also your mini project. So make sure circuit that has been designed shows element of sustainability in such a way that it can work in a prolonged environment, outside ke, indoor ke, outdoor ke, and can solve the problem in the long term, not just short term. Okay, apa dia maksud long term and short term? Okay, nanti saya elaborate in a little bit. But the keyword here is sustainability, although not that much, 3%, but considering your report and your presentation is just 3.5%, sustainability element ni shows a good chunk of your karimat jugalah for your rubric, for your mini project ni. Okay, so and beside that is the one that the lecturer in charge LIC has informed me to highlight to you guys. So make sure any problem that you want to solve, any circuit ke, any design ke, any kind of solution that you want to provide must have the element of sustainability, not just one-off solution. Maksudnya kalau problem yang you want to address tu, make sure it's a continuing progress. Lampu tak terang ke, kalau sekali terang dah habis. So tapi lampu macam contoh lampu, okay lah, saya bagi example. Nelayan, rumah dia tak mampu nak pasang lampu LED, dia pakai lampu panda floor. And lampu panda floor tu menyebabkan anak dia tak boleh nak baca buku, belajar betul-betul sebab lampu tu shading dia tak berapa lengkap untuk cover the whole area, for example. So what you suggest, okay, ni for the sake of discussing sustainability, not your mini project. If you recall, baru-baru ni last few years, there's a solution made by some group in overseas where they install some sort of lighting fixtures yang tak perlu power pun. Dia buat lubang kat bumbung tu, and then dia pasang this some sort of botol ke apa tak, and then end up the whole room is being lighted. So that's sustainability lah, sebab nelayan tu tak payah bayar bil api dah, tak payah tukar light bulb, but still are able to get that illumination within the designated room. Okay, so tapi itu tak ada circuit lah, itu what has already been done, and tak ada circuit, so tak boleh lah kita nak design in our mini project. But what I'm trying to discuss here, to show here, is that is how your sustainability, what it meant by sustainability in the solution that you want to produce. Okay, so that's the introduction. Okay, now continuing with the mini project report. First, we look into the report first. So this is how I'm going to assess your report. Basically, your report must have abstract, introduction, material and method, result and discussion, conclusion, references, and all the proper format. Okay, so this one yang tajuk besar ni memang kena ada, semua orang kena ada, introduction, material, method, abstract, semua ni kena ada lah. Basically, the purpose of this mini project report is basically to train you guys on how to do technical report, because FYP nanti later on you will be needing to know how to do proper technical report for your FYP punya results lah, proof lah, because and the technical report ni most probably your supervisor is going to publish it for you, so that nanti bila korang grad, dalam korang punya resume bolehlah letak kat situ dah publish paper this, menunjukkan korang punya FYP tak habis dekat universiti saja. Boleh ditengok daripada orang luar pun boleh tengok, your future employer pun boleh tengok ada hasil daripada UiTM ni, boleh tak habis kat sini saja. Okay, so technical report is actually important juga for you guys. So kat sini lah saya akan train on how to do a proper technical report. So that said, technical report have their own format, which I'm going to elaborate later, but at the very least, this element needs to be there lah, which is the abstract, introduction, material, and method can also be named methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, references, and the proper formatting lah. Typically for engineering, will be using IEEE, especially for electrical engineers, and then ada pun yang lain sikit pun APA lah, tapi kita are more geared towards IEEE in Malaysia. Okay, nama, make sure nama saya betul. Nama saya simple habis dah, kalau tak ingat juga tak tahulah, make sure letak betul. Okay, and then this is the guideline for you to do your technical paper. Basically, technical paper yang you guys will be doing for your mini project ni is actually a very simple one. Tak perlu double column and whatnot. So, try your best observe this guideline. Okay, first make sure ada abstract and also keywords. So, abstract and keywords nanti kita tengok. Then again, introduction, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion and references. So, this one typical memang technical report kena ada, samalah macam yang atas ni, references semua, cuma nama-nama dia lain sikit lah. Methodology ni can also be named as material and method, sama je. Okay, each section can be named differently. Macam for example, abstract and introduction, typically orang memang akan taruh abstract and introduction lah. Tapi methodology, result and discussion can also be named in a different name. Conclusion typically orang akan guna lah. So yang akan bertukar selalunya either introduction, methodology and result and discussion lah. Dia punya nama tu kadang-kadang orang akan pakai nama lain. Tapi the point being, there should be, this is where the gist of your work is being explained here, and also the result. Okay, you have to type it in Times New Roman with single line spacing and 11 font size. The article, your technical paper, should not exceed 5 pages, even though other references, including references tu, make sure tak boleh lebih 5 pages. Sebab technical paper memang typically orang write it as concise as possible, as comprehensive as possible, sebab tak nak orang macam baca novel sampai sebuku 100 tebal kan, siapa nak baca. And then article can also contain figures, tables or image. It should be baca sendirilah yang lain-lain ni, except for number. Okay, page should not be numbered. Technical paper selalunya ada, tapi the number will come from the journal or the publisher lah, not from you, because they might want to rearrange the article accordingly. So page numbers will be assigned by the publisher nanti. Okay, supporting figure, tables and images of the result may be included. Okay, ni tak apa. Okay, this one I think is more important. So let me arrange this so that you guys can see the effect of this. I'm actually having a different meetings lepas ni, tapi so saya try buat cepat-cepat lah. Okay, so for example, if I copy this, okay, this one, okay, sorry, image, okay, tak nak cakap, okay, all tables, image, figure should be centered. Okay, so centered is basically like this. There's space in between. So this one is left justify. Here, look, align to the left. And then if you want to align to the right, it will look like this. If you the one that being mentioned here, which is specifically for table, image, and figures, for text, kena buat ini justify ni. Nampak dia tersusun cantik sebiji macam teks tepi ni. Kalau awak tak buat justify ni, nanti kan bersepah-sepah tulisan. Nampak tak cantik, nampak tak professional. So make sure every single time you write your text, tekan justify ni. But for figures, for example, kalau saya insert picture sini, apa contoh some picture saya ada sini. This one. Okay, this is left justified. Kita tak nak left. Dia kata we have to put it somewhere in the middle. So kita kena tekan ni lah. So it always be centered. And also for figure, all the description should apa nama? Dia punya header dia tu should be also in the middle. But for table, let's say I insert table here. Table dia punya header should be on the top and centered. This one bottom centered, table top centered. Sama lah macam sebelah ni. And then for figure numbering and table numbering can be similar, but continuous from that have to be continuous lah, kena flow lah. Macam ni figure 1, the next figure will be figure 2, figure 3, figure 4, figure 4, so on and so forth lah. The same goes for table 1, table 2, table 3. So jangan buat figure 1 and then sini tiba-tiba figure table 2 pula. Tak boleh. Figure and table is a separate numbering system. So harap maklum lah ni. I think most of you would know, but just in case lah, I would like to highlight this is how professionally an article is being done. Okay. And then this is how I'm going to evaluate your written report. Basically, I need to see clarity, coherence, and systematic. Not so much on the idea and on the solution, workable circuit or not, but it's more on the how you write it, how you write your technical report. Okay, but this is only for me on evaluating your report. But for your presentation, of course, I need to see all the circuit working and whatnot. Okay, this is an example of technical report from Pulau Pinang. As you can see, all the authors are the team members, so you have to assign proper authors punya apa nama references, affiliations. Affiliation. So you can just put UiTM Terengganu lah, senang. Email and then respective email punya ni lah email can be up to 4 sebab kita ada 4 team members. Okay. And then abstract. So abstract, what it meant by abstract is a summarization of all the work that you have done that you're going to elaborate in this technical paper. So there has to be some summary on your introduction. What is the introduction is trying to tell you? Then what is the summary of the methodology? What circuit ke equipment ke apa yang you pakai for your work? Diagram to explain the process, summary of it in the abstract, and then the result. So, and then of course conclusion and future works lah. Semua tu kena ada dalam your abstract. Now, if you can see here, this is not a good example of abstract because the abstract being shown here consists of 225 words. So 225 is actually still acceptable, but if possible for you, since this is going to be your first time writing abstract, I think, try to limit at most 250 lah. at most 250. This one is 225, still acceptable, but for me it's too long. Typically, when you are going to graduate school, even degree pun, people will expect you to write at less than 200 lah, 150 lah. Kalau PhD level around 150 lah. But this one 250, okay lah, tak apa saya bagi, because I would assume this is going to be your first time doing technical report. So make sure adhere towards not more than 250 words for your abstract. If you can't explain it less than 250, that means you don't understand your project. Okay, that's how my parameter is in giving you marks. Okay, introduction, of course, introduction, like the name suggests, introduction, just some basic idea for the readers to know what your work is about, methodologies, ni baca sendiri lah, system diagram semua ni boleh tahu lah. Okay, block diagram, make sure, okay, tak apa, ni nanti saya elaborate nanti sebab nampak kenapa saya nak highlight block diagram ni. Schematic diagram, system operation, okay. References. Okay, yang lain-lain I think nothing much to say except boleh baca sendirilah, and I think korang pun dah biasa buat. But references ni I like to highlight. Okay, this one they want APA style. Saya tak nak, saya nak IEEE. So let me give an example of IEEE punya format. I myself is currently trying to read. Let me, is it this one? Tak apalah aku. Okay. This one. Okay. This is a good example of, sorry, this is not IEEE. Okay, this one. Okay, this one is a good example of IEEE format being used. First off, what it meant by IEEE is that you'll be seeing this square bracket ni, and the numbering lah accordingly. So IEEE, if you guys want to make it easy for you guys, make sure to use Mendeley, EndNote, those kind of software is going to help you a lot lah. Tapi of course korang kena invest some time nak belajar Mendeley semua tu. Sepatutnya kena include dalam lab ni, tapi tak apalah. But basically IEEE, the format is, the first part is all the author, and then there's an open bracket, the name, the topic, the tajuk paper tu, and then close quote bracket ni, comma, and then where is it being published, the name of the journal, the public edition, bukan edition, the volume lah, basically volume and number. Ni daripada journal punya ni lah, format tu, public edisi ke berapa semua tu, and then page berapa. Yang page ni, even though dalam ni tak bagi mention, tapi publisher akan bagi tahu lah, daripada awak punya citation tu boleh nampak lah. And then when was it being published. So that's IEEE punya format. And how do you want to use it? Basically, if you want to use any kind of quotation ke any kind of findings from the paper, you have to make the statement first and then put the number right next to it. For example, this one, that study, number one tadi tu, stated that it's RM50 millions worth of industry in 2013. So quote that statement, and then jangan pakai ayat sebiji-sebiji, rephrase it so that it reflects whatever point that you're trying to highlight there, and then put the number right next to it, after it, or before it, depending on you lah, how you want to do it. But for me, I typically would put it accordingly lah. Kadang-kadang tak depan, kadang tak belakang, depending on how my words will be. But you have to put the references so that nobody can argue about your ni, sebab dah memang dah dipublish pun. Okay, and then I understand most of you would like to use website punya reference pun boleh, but for example okay, I'm going to show watering system because tadi pun saya dah fikir watering system, so kita just tengok. Okay, so for, okay, let's say for example this article. Of course, you can Google IEEE format, how to format website. This one is not good. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. Let me find a good article that you can most probably use to I think this one good. Okay, so let's say you want to use this article, so you can copy this and then cite it, and then but make sure you have to follow IEEE format and put it in the references. However, let's say for example 18 and then continue with the website and whatnot lah. Macam ni pun is a good online. This one lah, this one, sorry. This one is actually one of the article that this paper is cited based on website. So, but as you can see, only one or two out of 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. 5 online punya citation website is being used out of 17. So 12, 11 of those at least, 11 of those are from journal paper. The reason why technical paper or any scientific journal are not using online, tak digalakkan menggunakan online website punya citation is because kalau semalam saya ada website, saya type semua ni, siapa yang boleh petikaikan saya punya finding ni. So macam tu jugalah, any kind of news that you've heard, any kind of scientific, apa kata government try nak control guna vaksin ke apa ke, where's the source, where is the citation? Of course saya boleh cite, saya buat satu website and then another website, saya cite balik website saya yang pertama and then macam nampak real kan, tapi actually if you go down that road, you can't. Kalau tengok yang news website ni yang apa left wing or right wing punya news ni, typically korang tak boleh jumpa siapa sebenarnya yang state ayat tu. Dia boleh tokok tambah ayat, tapi bila korang try to follow down the rabbit hole, you can't find the source of the actual words. Maybe dia akan cakap, okay, site ni, tapi when you go through down that site, tak boleh jumpa pun that statement. In fact, kadang-kadang yang that statement is actually the one that author tu sendiri memang suka-suka letak. So that's why for scientific papers, sebab tu kalau kita nak go through any kind of scientific knowledge, kena follow journal paper. Sebab tu citation tidak digalakkan menggunakan citation selain daripada journal paper, because bukan nak kata kita sombong apa, tak. These papers yang have been published ni is actually has been reviewed by expertise or at least somebody who has knowledge in that area. So kalau dia tengok paper awak and tipu ni result ni tak logik, dia boleh kacau, dia boleh stop that publication, kata okay, this result is not betul. Kalau tak, justify. Whereby online ni tak ada siapa yang boleh justify kan. So kurangkan pakai online. Make sure use journal paper, banyakkan journal paper, so that your finding will not be orang tak petikaikan and tak bawa nama busuk kat nama awak lah. Sebab ingat, this is your name here. So kalau ada orang kata awak buat tipu, sinilah namanya akan dapat nama buruk ni. Pernah jadi banyak kali. Okay, so that is the one that I would like to highlight on your references, which is important. I think even your seniors pun yang publish paper pun banyak yang waktu mula-mula tu masih lemau lagi nak buat citation ni, which is very critical, especially if you want to validate your finding. Okay, so any questions so far in regards to yang first part ni? Saya baru cerita the first part. Semua okay ke dengan saya membebel seorang ni?
Okay, sir.
Alright.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that is on your report. So next we look at an example of a report from UiTM Penang. Okay, so for this case, they are using flashing light circuit. So jangan tiru lah flashing light sebab kita dah ni I think 2021 patut dah tak apa kan 555 timer tapi tak apalah maybe sebab dia nak consider for diploma tak apalah. Okay, so this flashing light circuit semua ni is actually has already been uploaded in your summary link. Can I share it with you? Right, this one. Okay, saya baru tambah pagi tadi. You can find it in your mini project. Even nanti lepas habis this session, I'm going to share the video here that I've just record now so that korang boleh revisit balik kok terlepas pandang apa saya cakap. So item number 8 ni saya dah tambah dalam your guys punya summary link. So this item, this report, as you can see, is one of an example lah. So not example lah, more towards their briefing. So there are certain things that you can use. Macam ni tak boleh pakai sebab kita dah 25 or 26% to final grade. So dia punya marking ni better refer yang tadi lah yang saya dah share tadi, so boleh abaikan. But this timeline is actually for me is quite important. So saya letak kat sini and also where's the planner tadi? Okay, so if you see here, the deadline here is actually for the past last year punya batch. So in Pulau Pinang pula tu, so boleh abaikan lah. But in our case, so the first week here, 3rd January, is for you to form and storm ideas with your team members for you to come up with a proper presentation for next week, which I want you to see. I want to see the expected output, the block diagram, and also the main topic or ideas that you want trying to solve in regards to societal and environmental issues. So in my case, an example I'm going to discuss is more on, for example, a watering system, a watering plant system. So if let's say a user has tons of gardening because of MCO, so dia banyak bela pokok, and apparently now MCO dah lifted, now they can started to go to their balik kampung semua tu, pergi kerja semua, so tak ada siapa lah dah boleh water their plants, right? So nanti kalau lama sangat matilah pokok. So for me, an example I would like to propose an automatic watering system for their plants. So it's going to be sustainable in such a way that it's just going to be powered up by the wall socket, and everything will be almost indoors with proper casing closure to tahan weather punya effect lah. Sebab kalau Arduino tu awak letak kat luar, lama-lama berkarat lah dia. So tak nak, so kita letak proper enclosing. So kat sini saja awak dah nampak dah. Saya akan pakai lab 2 Tinkercad, and also at the very least AutoCAD. Tinkercad and AutoCAD. Tinkercad untuk simulate the working schematic of the Arduino watering system to itself. And then AutoCAD untuk design dia punya enclosure for the Arduino and overall sensor yang terlibat tu to make sure they sustain the environmental impact on the circuit and all the wires and whatnot. And then finally, all the data, since the user is not within the house, most probably remotely controlled from their hometown, kampung. So all the data will be connected to the home punya Wi-Fi, tak payah tutup, submit to the internet via IoT to, let's say for example, ThinkSpeak, and then ThinkSpeak tu pula akan transfer log the data and transmit it into Google Drive from the user. So nampak ada 3 lab dah kata kat sini. AutoCAD, Tinkercad, dan juga Google Drive, which kita belajar dekat cloud computing tu. So full mark lah dapat. And then sustainable pula tu sebab ada enclosure, so circuit tu insyaAllah bekerja sampai bila-bila untuk protect dia from environmental effect. And then the power up pun pakai wall socket, so tak perlu nak tukar bateri apa semua, memang boleh bertahun-tahun boleh jalan insyaAllah. So full mark lah boleh dapat. Okay, nampak idea yang saya nak try to solve. And then The problem here is that, yelah, user dah ada kat kampung, kalau kata dia balik cuti 2 minggu, dia perlu pergi overseas ke 2 bulan pun, plant dia tak mati. Sebab ada watering system tu yang dia punya user boleh access anytime and every time from the internet. Nampak idea dia? Okay, so that idea I will try. I want to see it from you guys next week, 10th, during class time lah. So nak tengok korang make a simple presentation, tak perlu formal sangat. Just show to me the idea, the tajuk idea that you're trying to solve, and I will hash it out with you whether that idea is uh, can properly address your query mark. Block diagram involved. So block diagram ni typically will be showing the expected input and expected output. So for example, in my case, watering system tadi tu, so the input will be soil humidity, soil moisture sensor, soil and then humidity, panas tak panas, and then also LED light detector LDR, light detector relay. So bila malam tak payahlah even though soil kering tu, sebab malam udara lembap sikit kan, so tak payahlah water sangat. Siang baru dia start water. And then masuk ke dalam algorithm detect certain level of operation, and then baru dia onkan switch untuk turn on DC motor, so that valve of the pipe air tu buka, and then water the proper plant lah, the amount of watering yang diperlukan oleh plant tu. Okay, so nampak block diagram dia tu, ada input which is sensor tadi tu, and then dia punya process in the middle of it, yang kalau tengok gambar ni tadi tu. Ni. So sensor soil moisture, humidity, LDR, light detector masuk kepada watering system saya, yang mana saya akan define parameter untuk dia punya DC motor to turn on or off, and then output is the DC motor lah. Bukannya plant tu kena water, DC motor yang final control element tu, yang akan menggerakkan pipe tu dia output dia untuk sistem tu. The actual element yang either mengairkan plant tu, that water the plant, or the one that enables for the water to flow to the plant. Okay, input and output. So saya nak tengok ni next week. And then expected output from the proposed application, bukannya plant tu diairkan. Itu memang dah terang jelas dan nyata dah. So the expected output is actually the user can monitor the plant health, the user can control the amount of watering to the plant, the basically the output of the solution that you're trying to solve, not the actual output on the problem tu, bukan the pokok tu, but solution yang awak dah solve kan, yang awak expected to solve by completing this project. So macam saya, watering system, user can now leave their home unattended to, can leave their plant unattended to irregardless of their current location, as long as there is internet, and also plant will not die because of the unavailability or the work demand from the outside world lah, to the user. So regardless of where they are, the plant can still stay healthy and continue to grow. So macam biasalah MCO tu hari ramai tanam pokok kan. Saya punya wife pun tanam pokok, dah mati dah. Sebab dah boleh balik kampung, habis cili-cili tu, kering semua. Okay, so that's one of solution yang for me is good, and I want to see possibly next week lah, by the time next week. If you guys alang-alang dah boleh, kalau kata dah ada idea and boleh continue terus, try to proceed terus kepada simulation. Senang nanti nak buat ni. Sebab dah masuk minggu ke-13 ni, I think akan ada banyak test, akan ada banyak assignment that you guys have to comply with. So kalau tengah free ni tak buat semua tu, I doubt korang akan sempat by week 14. So kalau boleh, even though saya set next week hanya untuk tengok benda ni, try to manage your time such that by the time you got that idea, try after dah complete semua ni, terus proceed ke circuit development. Try sentuh-sentuh sikit AutoCAD dengan Tinkercad. So maksudnya since korang ada 4 members, so one person will do the AutoCAD, one will do the simulation, Tinkercad, one will figure out how to send data to the internet and then log everything in the cloud computing part. And then the fourth person, maybe this one start to draft up the report lah. Collect all the data and then draft up the report and then support lah whichever team members yang perlukan bantuan. Okay, bahagikan masa sebaik-baiknya because now you dah tak ada cuti dah Ada 12, 13, 14 ni I think dah start lah macam-macam test, assignment, submission dan semua. Okay, so that by the time week 13, korang dah masuk yang second, third week punya progress ni dah memudahkan kerja because now you have we have only 10 to 15 minutes of discussion between each group dengan saya. Kalau saya nak tolong tu, kat sinilah saya nak tolong ni, yang minggu ke-13 ni. So by that time, hopefully korang dah jumpa problem korang. Remember, every single kerja yang awak nak buat dalam hidup ni, there will come a problem. So kalau awak tunggu last minute baru nak jumpa problem, siap lah. Memang tak tentu arah lah hidup awak. So nak masak pun ada problem dia sebenarnya, nak tidur pun sebenarnya ada problem dia. So kalau apalah, tu merepek lah. But basically I want to see you discuss on the problem that you face by week 13. Okay, and then finally in week 14 you have to submit everything because this is when I'll give you your marks. So kalau tak cukup ke apa ke, kat sinilah last copy. And then maybe this the continuing week, kat situ lah kalau ada kerja tambahan ke, nak minta top up markah ke, kat sinilah saya boleh allocate kan. Okay. A project report with necessary. Okay, so what does it mean by project files? Project files, maksudnya awak kena submit lah kat saya drawings awak .dwg yang awak dah buat from AutoCAD, from all the simulation that you've done in Tinkercad, all the log data that you've submitted in Google Drive ke apa ke, kat sini kena attach sekali with your project report so that I know that you're not just copying another group. I know that you are not just getting this from another site apa ke, because every project file will differ from each group to another. So kat sini saya boleh tengok lah siapa yang tipu siapa tak. So this will be your supporting documents lah So bukan project report saja kena submit, all the necessary simulation, all the simulation file so that when I test it on my PC, it can work as per claim in your report. Okay, so tak ada tipu-tipu, tiru-tiru Kat sini memang tak boleh nak tipu lah. Memang kena, semua orang kena buat. So jangan ambil mudah. Okay, so far ada soalan?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so kalau tak ada, I think for tajuk again, for the idea, I totally leave it up to you guys. But the key parameters here is sustainability, and you have to solve societal and environmental impact of any kind of solution that you want to have. But my suggestion is jangan sampai susah-susah sangat. Ingat, this is just one subject, bukan FYP. So tak perlu nak fikir macam mana nak mendaratkan kapal angkasa NASA ke apa, tak perlu. No. Cari something, Google something that has already been available macam tadi, watering system tu. Kalau saya Google tu, berdiri-diri keluar paper. Senang nak buat sendiri, DIY pun boleh. So, benda tu je. Yang ingat, dia punya keyword here, nak buat mini project ni, isn't about the technical know-how. It's about delivering the result and also writing the result. Writing the report lah basically. So, circuit awak tu buat simple-simple pun tak apa. Tapi ada purpose. Jangan buat circuit tak ada purpose. Buat 555 timer, lepas tu nak buat apa 555 timer, tak ada benda. So that the reason why this is being implemented is so that korang nampak apa yang korang belajar ni can be applied in real world. Bukan hanya belajar habis kat kelas, dapat CGPA berapa-berapa, okay dah habis. No. Semua benda yang korang belajar, yang subjek ni sebenarnya can be, at the very least kalau korang tak kerja engineering pun, can be good in a way that it will become your DIY project so that korang tak melepak-lepak buat benda merepek dia. So this is actually a good thing. Even kalau korang minat motor pun, actually korang boleh buat sensor kat motor korang tu so that korang punya minyak mixture produce tu combine dengan apa exhaust tu lagi laju motor korang. Sebenarnya boleh korang buat provided korang ada akal jauh sikit. Tapi untuk report ni tak perlulah sampai ke macam tu. Buat something yang you guys can just Google. There's already result on the apa yang boleh di-comparekan dengan korang punya. Jangan tiru sebab saya tahu siapa yang tiru tu saya boleh trace nanti. Tapi buat sendiri. But something that korang tak perlu nak fikir jauh sangat nak proofkan whether or not finding korang betul ke tak. Korang ada something yang solid dah ada dah publish dah pun, so boleh refer directly. And then tak perlu nak susah-susah sebab korang ada hanya sebulan, tak perlu nak fikir masalah yang terlalu besar. Simple, keep it simple stupid. KISS. Okay. Other than that, I think I forgot one thing, keywords. Is it in this slide? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be in this slide. This PDF. Okay, keywords. So I think I need to highlight this also because I want to see this on the third week. Basically, keywords is about okay. Let's say for example, my watering system. I'm going to use Arduino. I'm going to send it to cloud, Google Drive, so that it can be logged in and can be seen anywhere. So my keyword here will be Arduino, watering plant, and if let's say I'm using Google Drive, then Google Drive lah. Tu 3 keywords. So keywords here is actually reflecting upon the work that you have done, all the key components and also the key topics that you want to address. So Arduino of course is the Arduino based punya technology. And then macam ni dia pakai W platform, kita most probably pakai AutoCAD or tak payahlah AutoCAD, Google Drive lah, and also IoT. So keywords ni tak apa, kalau tak clear, later on we'll discuss during week 13 tadi tu, and I'll be able to pinpoint which keyword is actually good for your studies. Okay, so tu je lah kot. Ada apa-apa nak saya clarify or anything that I might have forgotten that you want me to clarify? No?
No, sir.
Okay, so
No, sir.
Okay, so if there's none, then that is all for today. I have another meeting beside lagi pun lepas ni. So tu je lah kot. Okay, so we end our